You're watching Guude. You're watching Guude. Fighting just to save our lives. Got you laughing every night.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back.
So I went to court for my tenant that didn't move.
Oh, I didn't realize you had a tenant that didn't move.
I told this whole story in one of our episodes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So with the other people didn't want to go to court, and wasn't it that your family was trying to, keep the whole notebook or whatever that you're?
Oh no. I mean, that was he didn't pay his rent when my aunt rented it to him, but that's long said and done. Whatever. I mean, the estate would have had to go after him back then if anything was ever going to happen with that, which they didn't. So, but no, like I think I told the whole story about how he cussed my cousin out and she gave him an eviction notice and all this, and they were going to husband wanted to fight him, all that shit. So we gave him the eviction notice. He's supposed to move out by the 5th of this month. Then 5th came and went, and he didn't move an inch. He didn't go anywhere. I went over to his house on the 5th and knocked on the door, and when I knocked on the door, it wasn't shut or locked, and so it like opened up. So I actually went in and like recorded every room of the house to make sure I knew what condition it was all in. That way, if he like shits on the floor or something when he leaves, I have some kind of video evidence that shows the condition the house was in. We'd gone and seen a lawyer whenever we served him the eviction notice just to make sure the eviction notice was good and there wouldn't be anything that he couldn't say or do. And then once he didn't move out, we actually hired the lawyer because we just consulted before. We actually hired the lawyer to serve him all the paperwork, and so went to court Wednesday this week, so the 16th, I guess it was, and it's such a waste of time. I don't even know why he showed up. So we get there, and there was some people there in front of us, and this woman that was there in front of us, she rambled on about the man that was renting her house for an hour. And like she kept trying to explain her bookkeeping process to the judge, and the judge kept saying nothing in your books makes any sense at all. Like she was trying to say the CPA, the way the CPA does it, like each like let's say you didn't pay your February rent, and then you went 2 months without paying your rent and you paid, then February would be credited before whatever month you paid in. And the judge was like, I understand that, whatever's due, that's going to be credited. Makes sense. But it says here that like 2 months later, when he did pay his rent, he's, according to the line item here, he's got a credit of $300. So why is that if you're saying he owes whatever? And
like 5,000 or whatever.
Yeah,
it is.
and the woman couldn't make any sense of it. She's like, well, that's just how the CPA does it. And it's like, well, no one can fucking read it, so what good is that? But then after all of this, when the man finally gets a chance to talk, the man that was the renter, he starts talking about how he moved into this house, and him and his wife have been living there for about 6 months. And once he's been living there 6 months, they get a foreclosure notice in the mail. And he's like, what the fuck? And so he calls this woman. He couldn't get up with her, the woman that's renting the house. And he tells this whole story about how the house went into foreclosure, and he got like 4 foreclosure letters, and he came down here to the courthouse, and the house was up for auction and all kinds of crazy shit. And so apparently that's when he stopped paying rent, because he was just like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna have a house tomorrow. I'm not paying rent on this. I'm gonna find another house to live in. And then as he's telling all this, he's like, but I'm also wanting to countersue for all the money I've put towards ownership. And the judge is like, what do you mean put towards ownership? And he's like, well, this house was a rent-to-own house from the very beginning. I've been paying $100 of my rent every month goes towards the final price of the home to be sold. And then the judge is like, hold on, ma'am, are you selling this house to him? And she's like, well, I'm renting it, but he's paying money towards ownership eventually. And she's like, so you're selling the house eventually? And she's like, well, yeah, part of his payment every month goes towards the sale of the house. And she's like, well, you can't try a house that's being sold in a small claims court. You need to go to district court. Case dismissed.
So you waited all that time for them?
Yes. I was in court for like basically an hour and a half, a little bit more maybe, for these people to talk their asses off, and then him to say the right combination of words for the judge to be like, hold the fuck up, get out.
You wonder how does this, like, in this, I'm assuming he's seen the rental agreement.
Well, it was a woman judge, but I mean, yes, well, you know what? All she got was the lease agreement. She had not been.
She probably didn't read it because who's going to read an entire, like.
Well, it was only 2 pages. I think she did read it because she sat there and read that shit for a long time. From what I gather, it didn't say anything about that because that came up once he said that. The judge said something like, "Well, this is just a lease agreement. Where's the agreement to sell?" And she asked the man. He's like, "Well, I don't have one." And she's like, "So you don't actually have a contract saying the money you've given her is going towards?" Because apparently he also put $4,800 down towards that. It didn't go towards rent at all. It went towards the purchase of the house. And she's like, "So you don't have anything in writing saying that this happened, right?" And he was like, "No." And that woman, though, the lease lady, really fucked up, honestly, because apparently the man didn't have anything in writing saying he'd given her this money, and there was no receipts, and there was no proof that he had
a. Like, yeah, this is true.
Yeah, she just admitted to it. It's like, goddamn, woman, are you paying attention?
You just had your golden opportunity sucked away.
Yep. I was just like, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, whenever he said, it's like I was sitting there watching Judge Judy or something. Like, whenever he said all this, and he's like, "I ain't gonna have a contract," I was like, "Oh, you done fucked up." And then the woman's like, "Yeah, that's true." Like, "Oh shit, you done fucked up." Yeah, but then
I don't even understand the whole rent to own concept.
I don't either, because he was paying this woman $2,100 a month in rent, and a hundred of that was going towards ownership, and the total value that she was willing to pay for the house in the end was $240,000. So he's paying this woman $100 a month. That means $1,200 a year towards a house that he's going to pay $240,000 for in the end.
12,000. Wait, 21? No,
yeah, $100 a month. That's $1,200 a year.
Oh.
What is 240,000 divided by 1,200? Because whatever that is, that's how many years he's going to pay on this house.
I was going to say how much rent did he pay in that time frame?
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing. Yeah, he's paying $2,100, so basically $2,000 every month is going towards rent, and
$24,000 a year.
Yeah.
And $1,200 going toward purchase.
Yeah, it was like the numbers were blowing my mind.
Well, yeah, is the whole rent to own thing? Like, I'm curious how long their contract was. Like, is
well, apparently they didn't have one.
Off the house. Well, yeah. What was the thought process on it was going to come off the price of the house eventually? Like, when's the eventually? When is the decision to sell? Who gets to make the decision to sell?
Yeah, well, halfway through all of that his story, he was talking about how after he didn't pay her recently, they were agreeing to like move on the selling of the house much faster. Since it was in foreclosure and all.
At an auction.
Well, yeah, no shit, right? He's just gonna go to the auction and buy the house.
We're gonna sell it faster, as in like tomorrow at noon.
Right. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, just the numbers were blowing my mind. But then we get to my case, and so our lawyer, he didn't have a lawyer, which I don't even know why he showed up. Like, our lawyer basically, like, I didn't even have to be there is what it boiled down to, because he wanted my cousin to testify because she's had the most interaction with the man. And I guess probably also because she's older. He didn't say this, but, you know, she's my mom's age, so and a woman, so it probably looked better to have her testify than me. Though I did wear my suit, so I was all fancy as fuck. Yeah, when she picked me up, she was like, "Jesus Christ, what the fuck?" She's like, "This ain't a wedding." So, you know, my lawyer basically asked, like, so you live here, you rent this, you've evicted him on this day, has he paid any rent since then, blah blah blah. And like, so he screwed all that, and then he goes and he starts talking, the man that we've evicted, and he tells this whole fucking sob story about how mean my aunt is, and she's just a mean lady, and no matter what, every month he has to deal with her, and he's never been late on his rent until this recent time when he was late on his rent, and how she said that he's got to move all his cars, but they're all lined up nice and pretty. I wish I could fucking show you these cars on the screen right now while I'm saying this, because it's the biggest, man, it's got a fucking junkyard in the backyard lined up nice and pretty, my dick.
Did you guys have pictures?
We do have pictures, but it didn't come up in court. Because he goes on this long ass spew, and then halfway through it, he starts talking about like what happened the day where she told him he needs to clean up his shit, like his cars and stuff. And he starts talking about, well, the woman at the store called me, and the lawyer interrupts, well, like an objection saying it's hearsay. And so the magistrate was just basically like, you know, you get to the point here. What's this got to do with the eviction and all this? And he's like, well, I just want you to know how she's treated me. And she's like, the magistrate's like, okay, so do you agree that you have a month-to-month lease that's a verbal agreement? He's like, yeah. And he's like, so were you served with a notice on May 5th to vacate the premises in 30 days, or April 5th to vacate in 30 days? He's like, yeah. And she's like, has it been 30 days? Like, yeah. He's like, have they accepted any rent? Like, no. It's like, okay, then you have to leave. Please leave immediately. It's like, you have 10 days. If you're not gone in 10 days, I'm sure they'll come back down here and use their legal right to have the house padlocked, and you will no longer be allowed to enter. He's like, well, I've been living there 12 years. And the master was like, well, not anymore.
So how do, in a case like this, in general, how do squatters' rights work, man?
I don't actually know. I mean, aren't squatters people who move in without ever paying rent? Period. Right?
No, not necessarily, because it was a big apparent scam on going around Airbnb for a while. It's squatters' rights can take. I'm going to log out for these stupid mystery blocks.
If you just right
squatters' rights. Yes. They take over when you rent when you stay at a place for longer than 30 days.
Huh.
And so there was all these people going around Airbnb and getting these more long-term like rentals for 30 days, and then they just stop paying rent and not leave.
Well,
They didn't pay anymore, and they just wouldn't leave, and they couldn't legally be evicted until you go through this ridiculous legal battle, which I'm assuming, since you guys are in a legal battle, it's, you know, covering the whole squatters portion of it. But
I mean it's still an extra 30 days
years.
basically. And like, so like in his case, so she said, you know, and the magistrate kind of glossed over this, but she's like, and you always have your right to appeal within the next 10 days. So he could technically appeal in the next 10 days, which then it would be heard in district court, and the district court would probably find the same way, that, hey, you have no right to be here. You've been told to leave. You don't have any lease agreement that says you can stay any longer, so get the fuck out. So he could technically, like, I mean, as it is now, he was told to leave on the 5th. We couldn't actually get a court date until the 16th. So there right there is another 11 days beyond the day he was supposed to be gone. And then he has 10 more days beyond the 16th. So and
this is free rent, because they're not mandating he pays you any money for this time.
Right. The only thing he has to pay is all the court costs. That's what the lawyer said. The magistrate said. We could have asked for legal fees and stuff like that, but we didn't.
Could you have just asked for the rent, extra rent?
I don't know. I don't think so. Because I think if he pays rent, then we have to let him stay, sort of thing.
But he is staying without paying rent. So
that's true. I mean, this is very true. But he's supposed to be. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. So yeah, I mean, it's still like he still gets basically a month of free rent, so to speak. Granted, he hasn't been there. He's been somewhere else. He hasn't been staying there. I don't know where he's been staying, but he hasn't been there in a while. He's just leaving his shit there. Like when I went in the house though, and took pictures and video, he hasn't moved hardly anything. And like, he's got like a kitchen full of dirty dishes. Luckily the house is actually in good shape. Like I was worried, because looking at his yard, like I've been worried about the inside of the house for a while, but, it looked fine on the inside at least. So there's that.
Why is there clay that I'm pulling out of like the middle?
There used to be a lakes up there. I've covered a lot of the lakes over already.
I was like, I've never seen clay just naturally existing in the middle of dirt.
There was some lakes up there. I hit clay. It's a surprise.
Beacon, though. It actually feels good that we made it to the beacon, at least on this level.
Yeah. Soon we can move the beacon. I mean, honestly, dude, this haste thing has made this so much faster.
Oh, heck yeah. I think we're going to have run into the problem now that mending is thought is we're going to have to go on a diamond search soon.
Yeah, that, or I mean, we have an option at least. At least we don't have to do that. We can kill shit at the mob farm.
Right. I just don't
know.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah. Either way, we're going to have to do something. It's not going to be just, how dare you shoot me?
Yes, how dare.
It's very rude. Oh, there's garbage around again, Jeff.
It's not garbage. It's my stuff that I'm not paying rent for. You don't tell me to get rid of it. I'll take me to court over it.
I mean, I don't know what he thought was going to happen in court. I really am curious what because it really seemed like his argument was they're mean.
Well, maybe he's just buying himself time to move his shit out.
But that's the thing, is he didn't move an inch to move anything out. And after the judge told me he had 10 days or else they're going to padlock the place. He went and got a storage place, because we know everyone in this fucking town. So the guy at the storage place called my aunt, was like, "Hey, that man renting your house got a storage place from me today." So there's no secrets where I live. So yeah, like he went and got a storage place that day and started moving his shit. Like this morning, I went past his house and he was out there with his ex-wife moving shit. So it's like it took that to get his ass in motion. Why the fuck did he wait a month to get his ass in motion? Was he thinking like I really don't know what he thought. Like were we gonna change our mind? Like, oh, you know what, you're an asshole, but you just go ahead and stay.
I mean, maybe he was hoping.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess he's been there for 12 years, right?
Yeah, but he's only been renting for us for a year, and you know he's always got this sob story. He tried to tell my cousin one time that he worked on some car of mine in Crystals at one point, and we never paid him $150. This motherfucker's never touched a single car I've owned. He's like, I should get a discount on my rent because of that, and it's like you've never even looked at a car of ours. I wouldn't let your lazy ass touch anything of mine. So yeah, I don't know. He's just I don't know. I'd actually forgot what he looked like until I saw him in court. I wouldn't have recognized him. It was funny in court too. He was like, because my cousin told the whole story of what happened and the dates and everything, and we looked up the dates on our phones because we took pictures at his door and stuff each time, and whenever we apply the eviction notice, all that sort of thing. And then he gets in court and it's like those dates were not correct. This all happened on the 2nd, and then the rest happened on the 5th. And like the first eviction notice was served on the 5th, and then the others were on the 7th. It was funny because the magistrate was like, okay, so it wasn't the 5th, it was the 2nd. So really she should have just told you to leave on the 2nd, not the 5th. She was like, oh, yeah. Yeah. Great. You made it you're even worse off now. I don't know.
Oh, you little baby. Oh, you little baby. Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
There's so many fucking mobs.
And I was trying to kill him to get some of this because I'm actually seeing my pick slowly coming back, but it sucks when you have fighting babies with a fire sword and you're out of food.
Oh, yeah, because they just burn you up, right?
Yeah, they hit you, burn you up. I start dying. I get all scared. I run away. But I'm actually seeing some movement on this pick now.
Oh, yeah. My shovel was at 330 earlier, and it's at 477 now, durability-wise. Do you have your durability on?
I don't remember what that button is.
It's like something.
Oh, no, I do have that on. 328 is what my pick's at now. I don't know what it was at before, though.
Yeah, at 477 now. So I'm definitely moving up.
I missed him twice.
I saw that. But I mean, I think one part of the reason why my cousin wanted to just keep him until he was an asshole was just we know what to expect from him. Like even though he did not pay the rent with my aunt, like he knew he had to pay the rent with us or leave, sort of thing. And as long as he paid the rent, the neighbors, which the neighbors are all fan. That was the other thing he brought up in court. He was like, she says the neighbors are complaining about my junk. Well, on one side of me is her aunt, and the other side of me is her son, and then across the road is her dad. So what kind of neighbors are those? They're like, and the bachelor was like, those are neighbors. It doesn't matter who they're related to. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of funny to have that argument, and it sounds good when it comes out of your mouth, and then when somebody calls you out on it, and you're like, wait a minute, I guess they still are neighbors.
Right. These people still live beside me, but they're related to someone.
Does not stop them from being neighbors. No, I told you, last week or the week before about the tough times I was having at work.
Yeah.
So this shit gets even worse lately is because my department is being called out again for how come we weren't given time for feedback on this particular type of issue. And I was like, I don't know what issue you're speaking of. Well, this thing, it's going into production next week, and we weren't given we have this whole list of feedback that we wanted to give, and nobody gave us a time frame, and you guys just pushed it on through, so we didn't get to do anything with it. So I'm like, look, we're looking up what this issue is right now. It didn't come from us. It came to us at the very last minute as an FYI because it got pushed down from a level above us. we didn't have anything to do with this. We were just told that it was happening. Like that was the extent of our involvement with this thing. But let me try to figure out who it was that, what group it was so you can talk to them about this feedback in case you need to do something. It was from her fucking work group.
I knew the moment you started saying this, it was gonna be someone that was like under them or something like that.
That's the shit. Like that's the shit that I'm dealing with. Like, and it's so infuriating sometimes.
Infuriating. That word.
Infuriating. It's like Nazi Germany fur. Like fur rating.
God, just look at that wall over there. What you've done to it, Jeff.
It's beautiful.
It looks like a teenager in high school.
It's beautiful. But yeah, I just hate when I have to deal with stupid shit at work. That is, it frustrates me. It makes me not want to like go back. But obviously, I want to go back.
Right.
The nice thing is we're getting to the bottom, and it's funny. And as mad as I am about it, I can blame this person because it is really their fault. But I understand why they didn't get it. Like, because they don't go to every single one of these meetings, and these meetings are not run by this person. They're run at the system level. So they're a level above her. And she missed one of the meetings where I guess they talked about this specific thing.
Well, she's got to feel fucking real dumb then whenever you tell her that the shit came from her department, right?
I don't know if that's truly the case or not, because I still think she expects that since my department ends up becoming, or the informaticists end up becoming the last stop for things, because it is something that gets built in our electronic health record system. So no matter what it is and how little we have to do with it, people always assume that we know of every single change that's happening because we are informaticists. And we don't, of course, because there's so many of them that come from so many different groups that we don't know details about all these things that are happening. We only know the details about the ones that we're trying to make changes happen specifically to our agendas or whatever. Yeah. So I still think that her, as well as multiple other people at her level and even at higher levels, assume that we are going to be that stopgap in case something got missed or some more feedback needs to happen, that we will be able to like jump in and save the day or be like, whoa. I bet you blah, blah, blah has something to say about this. So we got to put this on hold type of deal. But we don't have that knowledge. We don't have that ability in all cases to do that.
Okay, yeah.
So.
I mean, yeah, my job sucks too. Fucking Twitch subscribers talking shit sometimes.
So, and it is kind of funny because that's the one thing that I have to put up with, or those types of things I have to put up with for having a position where I know exactly what I'm going to get paid every 2 weeks or whatever my pay structure is. Whereas, yeah, you're your own boss and don't have to deal with stuff like that, but you have to deal with the volatility of whatever it is that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
So it comes with its own challenges.
Right, for sure.
And you do definitely have to listen to what your subscribers say, because if you don't listen to them at all, you're not going to keep them, and therefore it's going to,
yeah. I was just kind of being silly, but yeah.
But it's
I mean,
true.
You're right.
It's just,
you're definitely right.
A different perspective.
Yeah. I was really confused because I had a potato. I forgot that zombies could give them. I was like, where the fuck does potato come from?
Came from potato stew.
Yeah.
That was like next to the clay, potato stew, just randomly in the middle of the dirt. Part of the new update that we still don't know if it's going to mess with their whole idea of what we're doing here.
If it does, I just want to update. We won't.
I really want to update, but with a backup saved just in case, and see what it does.
Yeah, I mean, we could check a snapshot right before, I guess, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine to see him, but if it breaks what we're trying to do, we're just gonna have to wait. Nobody else plays on this server.
Well, they will be next weekend.
Maybe. Well, that for sure.
Why is this a big dirt hole all of a sudden? Where did this come from?
Me and you.
We're like, everybody's on the server.
Yeah, me and you.
Guude and Jeff. Is it how many hours is the
server is technically the opening segment, and I don't even know if it's right now it's in there as vanilla server question mark. Because it's basically just the opening while Sevidus make sure that UHC is running and ready to go, sort of thing.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, I gotta look at the schedule and find out what I'm doing, and at least carve some time out for the UHC, if nothing else.
yeah.
Unless you've already got like teams all set.
Nope, nothing's set. It's the participants is set as everyone available.
Okay.
So honestly, in the spring UHCs, I don't think we've ever had more than 9 people for them.
Is it just us, or are there guests in that one?
Justin is going to be there, so there's going to be at least.
So there are guests. It's not limited to.
Right. I mean, Justin's basically a Mindcracker at this point. He's a Mindcracker without any drama.
Oh, I missed that guy. God, I'm so glad that guy is around the group, because he was such a fun dude in Florida. Because I'd never met him before. Oh no, I met at the marathon. The marathon in Florida.
What was he at in Florida? Oh, yeah, he was at X Life United. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. I mean, I was hardly around because I was busy being Disney guy, so I forgot who was even there. I didn't hardly see you guys.
Yeah, that was. He's a good guy, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if we were still adding people to the group, he'd be someone that would be worth adding.
Maybe it's been so long and the hype is real. People want a new member.
Everyone blames Chad for anything that's wrong.
Want to join?
Do you know Chad was the last person that got added?
Was he?
Yeah, that's how long it's been.
I guess. Yeah, that was years ago.
I think it was
that
2014
was like when we did something in PAX, real PAX, right? Or was it PAX East?
I don't remember. I don't remember anything anymore.
Everybody blames Chad. Is that what you
Yeah. Anything that's ever wrong, it's like because Chad joined.
It's so funny too, because right after Chad joined, he was one of the few people who was making daily vanilla content for like a year solid.
Yeah.
I mean, daily Mindcrack vanilla content.
Right.
At that, like, it wasn't even that he was just doing his other thing. It was he was so active on the server, and one of the few people.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything we could do to get people to play again. I've like talked to people that still play and they won't even, like Arcus, for example.
I mean, it's kind of lost its appeal.
Yeah, vanilla's pretty boring now. Everyone I know that still plays Minecraft just wants to play modded.
And I don't modded.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be all about if we got a modded server up and running that was able to sustain multiple people and had reasons for multiple people,
right?
Because I don't think you just throw up be like, here's a modded server that we can all hang out on. I don't think that's gonna work. Something that is still like, you can still have your missions, it can still be achievement based, but everybody can do their own thing to get there,
right? I mean, it's kind of like what me, Arcus, Nebris, and Packrat do. We've had a modded series going now for 3 years, I think, and it's been through multiple mod packs. But that's what we do basically. But
you guys all work. If somebody gets an achievement, though, does it go to everybody?
I mean, yes. We were on the same team working for, but we wouldn't necessarily have to be. Like whenever we did.
Can you make it so you're on different teams?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, the quest book is team based, so you don't have to all be on the same team. Whenever we did,
I didn't realize that.
Agrarian Skies. I don't remember if there was a quest book in that one, but we basically all picked our own mods and we're all doing our own thing, even though we were on the same sky block, so to speak. But we worked together occasionally, but we also kind of did our own thing. But for Divine Journey, we're definitely just I got blown the fuck up. We're all working on the same quest book. But Divine Journey is one of those mod packs that's supposed to take you 9 months playing 8 hours a day, sort of thing. So we're trying to like get there quicker than that. But me and Arcus are talking about doing SevTech once I finish Age of Engineering. So that could be something, I guess, that you could probably join in too.
What is SevTech? Is it made by Sevidus?
It is. It's commissioned by Sevidus. He had Dark Osto make it. He's the guy that made the Invasion mod pack.
Okay.
So he basically told him what he wanted. And what Sev wanted was a very progression-based mod pack that starts off like super simple. You can only do certain things. And then you open up other tech trees and stuff as you go on. But it's supposed to be something meant for people that stream or have a lot of time. So it's not a mod pack you'll finish in a weekend or whatever. It's supposed to 8 hours a day for 6 months is how long the progression should take.
Even if you're Nebris?
I think so. I mean, because Sevidus basically plays like Nebris, and and so it was meant for someone like Sevidus who streams 8 hours a day, that they could technically stream it 5 days a week for 6 months. So yeah, I mean that's something that we could technically do. Because like I said, me and Arcos are gonna do it. You could join us, I guess, and instead of us continuing to do this. That's probably gonna make people sad hearing me say that because we're the
No, this has to end. This has to end at some point.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that. We've done 100 and at least today. I don't know what one this will be, but like 112 or something like that released today of mine, which has started over at the beginning of this. That's 112 episodes we release every other day. That's been 224 days of Mindcrack vanilla again. I think we gave it a good go.
I mean, when you think about it, though, that's nothing compared to what it used to be.
Oh, that's very true. Something that compared to what it used to be, but neither are the views, which means neither are the desire to watch.
That's true. That's true.
This stuff.
I don't know if you put the video in the title, you get a different.
That's true. That's true.
Have you tried it?
I mean, it'd be different if multiple people were super engaged with this. It was increasing sub counts because people were really engaged with, the videos. But, the 300 views a video on mine and now 3,000 views on yours or whatever shows that there's not a lot of crazy interest in.
Yeah. I get as many views on anything else I do, honestly. I think there's more on Mario Kart than this. Though, again, since I've changed up the search engine titles, it's pretty much all over the fucking place now. Like I put up one the other day.
Is it called Google?
No, I called one The Best in Chance, and it had like 20,000 views in a day.
The next day, The Worst in Chance.
I mean, yeah, I named one Teenage Life, and it had twice as many views as the one before. So I've just been trying different things. Teenage porn. Yeah, the Teenage Life one was the one where we were talking about the because you were talking about like the growing pains of Minecraft or something like that, and so I was like, yeah, it's like when it was a teenager or something. So I was just like, I'll call this episode Teenage Life because that's got to work for search engines, right? Yeah, just basically been playing the search engine game to see what works.
And you're finding some things, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's true. I tried the same thing on other series, and people apparently search for Minecraft videos, but they don't search for Mario Kart videos because videos doesn't work in the title. I told Beef about it. He started doing the same thing for his Minecraft videos, and it works for him too.
Jesus Christ.
Which he didn't even need any help. I mean, I guess everyone needs help, but he was already still getting, 70, 100,000 views an episode.
Oh, the days.
Yeah.
I didn't have those days, so I can't really say that. But I don't have a play button, damn it. I'm like halfway there.
I never got mine, so. Even though I crossed the 100,000 threshold, I never got one.
But you earned it.
That's true, I guess. Sure. Take that to the bank.
I'm going to just start a Patreon campaign that's $0. Just
please sub.
Get me to a play button.
Please sub. It's like you're like fucking Jeb Bush. Please clap. Yeah. I don't know. I am starting a new modded series actually, which you remember Zoomovoid or not Zoomovoid? Iskal from the marathon. Mm-hmm. Came from Sweden. He asked me there about doing the Fullcraft server that he's done a couple times, and I said sure, and I forgot all about it. And he messaged me like a week ago and was like, starting up next week. I was like, oh yeah, I'll be there. So I've been playing on there a lot this week. It comes out this Friday actually. So I'm hoping people are interested in that. That's with a lot of people I've never played with or haven't played with in a long time. So hopefully there'll be some new eyes this way. See what happens. Honestly, we could probably bring some people into the vanilla server. The whole like you got to be a Mindcracker to play on it at this point, I think is kind of a silly thing because like no one else is playing here. What the fuck does it matter? Sort of thing. I don't know. You should cheat in a pig spawner. God, I don't think anyone would care. We're back at that point where no one would give a shit, right? It is so funny how it went from nobody cared when you did that way back when because it was funny to all of a sudden like people would flip out if somebody had to get teleported when we were doing like a big joint venture. Yeah. You tell it, I'm unsubscribing. I'm done. Done. He was only 100,000 blocks away from you. You guys could have waited 6 more hours for him to just walk there. Right. Man. Well, we're out of time once again. And Jeff's killing the series, guys. Hope you've enjoyed. So I am. I'm you've heard it here. Dead. It's done.
over.
This is the last episode.
I'm blaming it on Chad. Chad told
Yeah,
me
Chad
that.
did it, really. He was talking about coming back, and we were like, fuck that, we're out.
Yeah, we're like, can't play with that guy. The last Mindcracker. You ruined this place.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time.
All right. See you guys.